Hi guys, this is Jason Buff with the Indie Film Academy, and we're continuing our talk about screenwriting. One of the first things that I want to talk about today is the concept of structure. One of the things that I have a lot of students send me are screenplays where you will start a story and everything will kind of be good. There's an opening scene and everything's great. And then we'll kind of get into this abyss of storytelling, and you start wondering, okay, where are we going and what's going on? And they don't get to what the story is really about. And that's something that we need to have happen, not exactly in page 15, but if we're trying to shoot for like a 100-page screenplay, right around page 15, it could be 13, it could be 17, whatever, but we want to let our audience know what the hell the movie is about. And so many screenplays that I read are just not, you have no idea what's going on. You have characters talking or things are funny or going on, but you want a main story. And really that's the point of the first act, is to really explain who our main character is and what their world is. And a lot of times that's the whole point of that build-up, is because something is going to happen at the beginning of Act 2, end of Act 1, beginning of Act 2, where that world is just going to come crashing down. So we have to establish empathy for this character and his world and what he wants and what's like the most important thing to him. And all of that has to come crashing down in the beginning of the second act, and that's where our movie begins, is after this one character has something really horrible happen. That's not every I'll give the caveat for all these. That's not every screenplay, but that's the majority of screenplays, and if you're just starting, that's how you should try to write, in my opinion. Now, talking about structure, there's a lot of different structures out there. Save the Cat is probably one of the most popular ones. And that's popular, I think, for the most part, because it not only tells you what the beats are of a screenplay, but exactly what page everything should fall on. So if you're writing I always say 100 pages. Okay, some people say 90, some people say 120. But if you're writing a 100-page screenplay, certain things should happen at certain pages so that you know exactly if you're on track and if you're keeping up with the pacing of the movie. Now, one of the problems with Save the Cat is that that's just one kind of structure. And a lot of movies have very different structures. So what you can do is take a movie that you really like, or a movie that's very similar to what you're trying to write, and do this very simple exercise. You take, what I try to do is every single time I'm watching a movie, even if it's a movie that has nothing to do with what I'm writing or not, and start dissecting the pages. And you can pretty much figure out what page you're on based upon the minutes of the movie. So every minute of screen time is a page. And what I do is I take a piece of paper, I draw a line down the middle, and I start writing down the beats. And you'll see here I've got a 2 with an arrow going down to a 4 with an arrow to a 6. And all the stuff that happens more or less on those pages. So I'm tracking where I am with the pages and what's going on with the screenplay. And down here there's a line. That means that we're going into Act 2. This is actually from The Maltese Falcon, which is highly recommended for all screenwriters and filmmakers to watch. Great movie. Anyway, so I do this for every movie, and it's very helpful when you start trying to make your own movie, because then you're going to be able to, if you want to, you can start writing in beats of your own movie here. And if there's a movie that's very similar to what you're writing, you'll be able to find that structure is very helpful to figuring out places where you're not sure where you should go. And as screenwriters, a lot of times we're very creative and we're very good at coming up with dialogue and scenes and all kinds of creative things, but it's very hard sometimes to know where you are, especially when you get into the second act. And this is really helpful for, getting into the second act and making sure that you don't lose your audience, because it's easy to keep people interested up to a certain point, but once you get into the second part of the second act, it's very common to lose everybody's attention because people are just tired. People's attention span is about 90 minutes. And towards the end of that 90 minutes, it starts to wane, so you have to do things to surprise people, have B storylines, have a midpoint that twists things around. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that, and I hope it's helpful. If it's not helpful, then whatever. But happy screenwriting, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. I'm Jason from the Indie Film Academy, and we'll see you soon.